Do you even remember 2019? It feels like an age ago. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe right now. This is the last video in my series on the best albums of the 2010s decade, but I'll do more videos like this for more years and more decades, don't worry. In 2019, the human race was able to photograph a black hole. Unfortunately, there was a big fire in the Notre Dame in Paris, and Greta Thunberg was the youngest person to be Times Person of the Year. Well, a lot of things happened, but let's be real. 2019 is now known as the year that we didn't have a pandemic yet. As always, there were some great heavy metal records that came out. I will give you my top 5 picks, but before I do that, let me give you some runners up. First up, there was Blood Incantation with Hidden Histories of the Human Race. There was also Spiritual Instinct by Alcest. Definitely check out The Ruins of Fading Light by Crypt sermon. And we also had The Epic Doom of Smoulder. Thanks again Sarah and Sean for signing this record. And last but not least, Lucifer II by the phenomenal occult 70s retro hard rock band Lucifer. Alright, so let's kick it off with my top 5 albums of 2019. At the number 5 spot we have the adventure rock of Tainif with In Another Time. Citadel on that album is a great song. The band brings this, lovely retro heavy metal that both gives us calls back to the Nwabum, but also to like early 70s sounds. But it does come with a modern twist. I love this album. It's really great to see the pairing on vocal duties as well of Russ Tippin, who you might know from the band Satan, and Cindy Maynard, who's also the bass player. My favorite song on the album is Under the Stars. When we were out there under the stars. Okay, on the number 4 spot we've got the black metal Vikings, the iconic Borknagar, with their album True North. There are chains now in the field. So Borknagar has left the pure black metal behind them for some time on this album. There's a lot more proggy influences. We also have clean vocals. Voices is a great song, but on this album, which I think is my favorite album of the band, and I'm going to get some hate for that probably, is the song Up North. It's the place where the summer will be. Alright, moving on to the number 3 album. A very successful album. I'm talking about We Are Not Your Kind by Slipknot. What's this? So this album follows another rocky period in the band's history. It also follows the phenomenal Volume 5, The Great Chapter. I still prefer The Great Chapter, but We Are Not Your Kind brought something different and a fresh approach, and it was just what the fans and the band needed. On the album, my favorite has to be Unsainted. Alright, on the number 2 spot, again a really successful album, and this was the self-titled 7th album, Rammstein. Radio, Auslander, a bunch of songs on this album are really great, were big hits. What is really cool about Rammstein is that, they have never had a lineup change since their first album, and obviously the band sings predominantly in German, which is not a given if you want to conquer the world. Yet again, this album came with a lot of controversies. The texts of Rammstein are always phenomenal. You do have to speak some German to fully understand all the nuances. Anyways, both from a lyrical perspective and from a video perspective, the first single of this album is the song that this album is going to be remembered for. It's one of the best songs that Rammstein has ever made. Obviously, I'm talking about Deutschland. Deutschland, mein Herz in Flammen, will ich lieben und verdammen. Alright, and we are actually going to stay in Germany for my number 1 pick. This is a band that has been, you know, creeping up on my radar for some time, but then in 2019 they released one of the best metal albums of the decade. I am talking about The Course of Empire by Atlantean Codex. So The Course of Empire is a pseudo-concept album about the rise and fall of different empires through history. The band brings an epic heavy, epic doom mix, which makes you think about, you know, some of those great albums of the early 80s. A lot of Dio and Black Sabbath influences in there for sure, but a lot of melody and a lot of epicness. This is a big album with big sound. Some songs that I would call out are He Who Walks Behind the Years and also People of the Moon. The title track on this album is also really good, but really there are no weak songs on this album. You have to check out this album. My favorite song on the album has to be Chariots. Alright, those were my favorite albums of 2019. Let me know in the comments which albums you think were the best of that year. Stay tuned for more videos like this, and we'll see each other soon. You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.